All right, so on this particular model, this is the 3-liter with the automatic transmission, 4-wheel drive, 1999 Ford Ranger. You're gonna have a 5/8 plug. I don't know exactly 5/8 fits, although it can be a little weird sometimes. So go ahead and run your catch bucket over here, make sure your nozzle's off, and make sure, a lot of these Walmart catch pans have a little screw in here, and it'll plug it up, and then you put oil all over the ground, and you know, that's never fun. Once it's finger tight, just go ahead and get it off. I'm using gloves because it's quite frankly pretty cold, and I kind of like my hands. And then it should just pop off. I am gonna use my hands for this bit. As you can see, I have got a nice rear mainsail leak, just weeping a little bit, and I probably should have let that warm up a little longer, because that's pretty thick. So we may be here a while, but yeah, just pull your drain plug, make sure you got a good catch bin. It's going to be 4.5 quarts. Good catch bin down here. Make sure you're not overflowing and that fun stuff. And then when you pull your oil filter, it's going to come out of that tube right there, right below right in front of the front diff. So, well, most of it is. It's not exactly a perfect design. It's pretty much done draining. I'm going to take your drain bolt. I normally have a rag. So at this point, you're going to just kind of wipe it off. It's not draining. There's hardly any left. So I'm just going to go ahead and perks of working on a vehicle that goes off-road frequently is you brush just about anything and you got dirt all over your eyes, you know, all the fun stuff. Go ahead and clean off your bolt just like that. Clean up the surface. Go ahead and thread that sucker back in. Just use your fingers for the first bit, but you know the threads aren't cross threading. Get it good and snug. Take your ratchet, nice and snug, nothing crazy, just like that. Okay, so I got you guys in the position that I want. I'm gonna go grab a bucket real quick so I can stand on it. Use a paint bucket that's got ice on it, so I might slip and die. That's okay, so just grab it. This is gonna completely block your view, but lightly shut it off. There's that. Just give it some good spins. You should feel it just backing off ever so slowly. And this is gonna have oil in it, so be careful when you do, because it's going to go everywhere. Try and dump it in that little catch thing. That tube will go down to the oil pan down there. So now, right now it's just slowly draining into our catch, into our little pan down there, off of the little catch thing right below the oil filter. So just unfilter, keep screwing it off, and try and dump as much of it into that little tube thing as you can. It's not perfect, but just right up top, just like that. Just came right through between the steering column and my AC pump. All these wires right in here, and that's it. And then another thing, if you take off or just fold these up, I have them off just because my mud tires like to rub, and eventually they just started catching it, so I had to remove them. But this is the driver front tire. If you look right through here, you can see the actual where the oil filter is supposed to go, so you can actually physically check that from here if you like. With the skirts on, you can just fold it up and it should be good. Alright, so now that your surfaces are clean, I just used a Walmart rag that I got. What you're gonna want to do is, you know, clean the surface of your oil filter, make sure there's no just crap on it in general. Then take your new oil here, just take a little, put your finger in there, get your finger just doused in oil, and you just want to coat this seal. So I found a better place to put the camera, right on top of my upper ball joint. Seems to be a good view. I'll be able to show you what I'm doing. So already lubed up the seal on our new oil filter, so we're gonna go ahead and put it down in there. And this is the tricky part, because you can't really see what you're doing, but you have to do it all by thread, and you have to do it all by feel. And don't force any of this. If you feel like it's not going in right, then don't. Back it off. It should just glide right in. It's not even just, I'm literally just spinning it at this point. Nothing's forced. It should just glide right on. And 3/4 a turn on, or just till it gets snug. I generally just do till it's snug. Good and snug. Nothing's cross-threaded. So at this point, you're gonna want to grab your funnel and a rag, clean the funnel out. In my case, mine's dirty, so just give it a little clean. Oil tends to make things stick to them, especially if you run a Lucas. So, got our Lucas. I generally run just a little bit of this stuff, nothing too much. It's still pretty cold, and then a 530. So, dipstick is out to help with the funneling. So put that right in on there. And generally, I'm going to add my Lucas first because it's the thickest oil that we're putting in it. So just a little bit. And normally I read off of the dipstick, but yeah, as you can see, that stuff is literally molasses. Good stuff. I've always ran it in all my vehicles. And just a couple of good globs, and that's going to take quite a bit to get out. I mean, yeah, that stuff is literally, I mean, it's like string cheese, especially when it's cold. Right now it's about 32. Now that the sun is out of the clouds, so Lucas is done at this point. So we got, so it calls for 4.5 quarts, but I always just go off with the dipstick just to be safe. Drain for a couple seconds. Cap this for a second. Now I'm gonna check our dipstick here. Go ahead and clean it off. So at this point we're just up to the hash marks on the dipstick, so we're gonna have just a little bit more to go. More splashes here. And that is right where it wants to be. That down there. Take our funnel off and clean our funnel. It's got Lucas on the inside of it. String cheese. Stuff that in the funnel. Put our cap back on. Just like that. Dipsticks down, caps on. Now we go ahead and give her a start. Paying attention to that oil gauge. That. Just quieted it down considerably. Now we go ahead and give her a start. Just like that. Give her a little bit more. Just 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 a little leaking, no oil on the ground. And that's just a basic oil change on the 1999 Ford Ranger with the 3-liter. Thanks for watching.